Hey everybody, it's Brent Burchard, author of the New York Times bestselling book, The Motivation Manifesto, and founder of High Performance Academy, where we teach you how do you reach your highest levels of potential and performance in all areas of your life, from your physical and mental, spiritual well-being, to your social relationships, to just getting things done every single day. How can you become the highest achieving you? That's what we've been talking about, and that's what my work has been based on for nearly 20 years now. And what I'm excited about talking with you today is these 6 strategies for achieving that next level of influence in your relationships. Whether that's the relationship you have with your spouse or your partner, or the relationship you have with your kids, or the relationships you have with your coworkers, your team, your partners, the people that you do work with, the people you serve your mission with. How can you gain greater influence in the world? All of that will be covered in these 6 strategies, all part of our conversation about high performance, a topic that I've been trying to take to the world now for almost a decade, helping people find what is those secret strategies, tools, beliefs, habits that the world's highest achievers have. Clearly, they outperform others. That's what high performance is. They're outperforming their own self and others, but there must be some magic to it, right? Well, as you'll see today with these 6 strategies, sometimes it's not that profound, especially in influence. Getting that next level of influence with your relationships, improving your relationship with your marriage, or improving your relationship with your kids, improving the relationships at work, it really is fairly straightforward. But as we always teach at High Performance Academy, sometimes common sense isn't common practice. So we struggle in our relationships because we know we should be loving and kind and compassionate, but then we get impatient. Someone does something, we're like, and we get upset with people, even though we know, patience is a virtue. A lot of my work in high performance has always been helping people reconnect with themselves and the deeper life truths that they already know, but better yet, to demonstrate those into the world. Because I know you're already a person, if you're watching this, you're into your personal development, you've tried the basics, but now you're ready for some higher level beliefs and habits that maybe are a little bit more advanced and maybe a little more practical in terms of they've been proven in science and they work in people's lives. I've been blessed now to become the highest paid high performance coach in the world, bar none. And in that experience, I've worked with Olympians, I've worked with billionaires, I've worked with ambitious moms, I've worked with people starting their new entrepreneurial endeavor or at the highest levels of business, finance, and politics. And in that journey, even though I might look young to you, this is for me professionally, a decade at this at the highest levels. And almost, my 20th year in my own personal exploration of how do I get the best out of myself? Because like you, there's days I wake up, I'm like, I don't understand why. I got these big dreams, but I can't get more influence in the marketplace, or I got these big dreams, but I can't get people, I can't get a team around me to support me, or I can't get my partner or this person to champion me. And sometimes gaining greater influence in the world is the fastest way to reach that next level of your dreams and your goals. Because, sometimes, yes, you can get out of your own way, you can do all the head work that we've talked about so far in this video series, but the challenge can be for people is it's social. If they had a better peer set that they built and had influence with, then that group would champion them on. So I have a question for you. How many people have you created around your life that are championing you on, that are carrying you up and forward, that have your back, that believe in you? And how many people in your marketplace, your family, your community, do you feel like you have the highest levels of influence with? I mean, that they believe in you, but they would buy from you. That they have that trust in you that you will always show up to perform your best. And I ask that to a lot of people, and they say, geez, Brent, I don't know, maybe 3 people? I don't know, 5, maybe 10? But the challenge is if you haven't gathered dozens of people around you, it's going to be hard to get to that highest levels of success in life. And I tell everyone, you got to start at home. These 6 strategies, apply them at home tonight, apply them at home tomorrow, take a 10-day challenge, put these 6 strategies into play, watch what happens with your relationships. They explode in joy, in vibrancy, love, connection, sex. I mean, whatever, your thing is, you're really gonna find a different level of connection with human beings when you put these 6 strategies into place. So let's jump into the first one right now. The first high-performance strategy for influence is to set up intention cues. What does that mean? Well, obviously the intention that we have in our lives, in our careers, and in our relationships matter. There's power in that, in knowing how do we want to show up in this situation? How do I want to serve in this situation? How do I want to be perceived in this situation? That intention is the answer to those things. So let's think about your intention right now in your relationship. Really think about, let's say, your most intimate relationship, whether that's your marriage or your intimate partner, if you have one, or maybe just a deep relationship you have with someone very close to you. What's been your intention in that relationship? I mean, could you write it down? If you and I were at lunch right now and I said, what's your intention in your most significant relationship for that person, for that relationship? Do you know the answer automatically, or do you got to go, it's been kind of like, maybe it's like this? Because if you're making it up when I ask you, that's why you don't have a high-performance relationship yet. The intention hasn't been set and been acted upon consistently to make it a reality. Lots of people have intention, but they never implement it. And they don't implement it because they haven't set up cues that fire off a reminder that says, this is how to be in the relationship. Does that make sense? What I mean is people go through their life often just kind of showing up and, what's going on, guys? Yeah. They've never set an intention to here's how I want this situation to go. Here's how I want this relationship to feel and grow. And here's how I want to treat this person, right? They just go through. They show up at their house at the end of a workday. How's their spouse? What they think? Well, what's the mood my spouse is going to be in? And they show up and they just react all the time to other people's emotional cues versus carrying in their own intentional cues. So here's simple things to do. I'd love you to think about all of your relationships in your life. We'll broaden it up, then we'll come back to that specific relationship. All of your relationships in life. If you could think about how people would describe you, and you'd be proud of how they describe you. Let's say if they said these 3 words about you in their relationship with you, what would those 3 words be for you? These are 3 words you're like, gosh, I hope that I hope the world described me as this. For example, if these were the 3 words on your tombstone or your epitaph, and these really encapsulated the best of who you were socially with people, what would you want them to be? What would those words be for you as an example? And here's what I like to tell people. Think about those words, create a whole long list of words of how you would love to be perceived by others, because it would make you proud, it would make you feel like you lived your mission, you lived a life of purpose. Then bust those down to your top 3. Know why those top 3 words are intimate and important for you. And then, simple tactic. Put them in your phone as an alarm to go off 3 times a day. That's all. 3 times a day. So that 3 times a day on your phone, bop, these 3 words show up. And it reminds you oh yeah, mine go off at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. Every single day. It just goes. And the funny thing is with your phone, you forget you said it. I mean, I've been doing this for years. And my phone will buzz. I'll look down. There's the words. I'll connect with those words. I'll feel and sense those words. I'll be like, right. These are important to me. Be like this. And I can tell you, one of my words is compassionate. I think compassion is one of the most important things in the world. I've been blessed to meet the Dalai Lama twice now and spend some time with him. And his religion is kindness and compassion, as he says. And in that wrap of Buddhism, he's just developed this incredible energy around him. He deeply cares. And I thought, I want to have some of that, So compassion is mine. But I remember one day I was literally just getting so frustrated with somebody. And I was having this conflict with them, like this argument. And I was trying to prove I was right. And my phone buzzed and I looked down and it said compassionate. And I was like, gosh, I'm an ass. And I changed my entire conversation from that intentional cue that showed up on my phone. You might put it all over your house in Post-its next to your mirror. That's important. That's your global cues, right, for how you want to be perceived. The second part of the intentional cue, though, is with a specific person. And so my cues are cues that happen, fire off when I see a specific person. So for the most important people in my life, I assign a word for them to remind myself every time I see them in the eye. So that old phrase, when you see the whites of their eyes, when I see the whites of their eyes, this word cues in my mind, it says, be this way with them. So for example, if one of my family members is going through a really difficult time, I'll cue off a word or a phrase. Every time I see them or hear their voice, this phrase goes off or this word goes off, and it frames that entire interaction I'm going to have with them. And I know this sounds so common sense, but like I asked earlier, have you had this up and running for the most important people in your life, individually and for everybody? And I can tell you, I've been blessed to work with literally some of the most extraordinary humans. People have been profiled on front covers of magazines. People have been all over the History Channel. I mean, some remarkable people. And guess what? They're always like, oh, you know what, Brendan? I need to work on that. And I think part of, if you're still here watching this, you've got what I call the humble spirit. The people who learn the most and grow the most, they have the humility to say, you know what, I could probably do better at that. And they focus on getting better at that. And because they have the humble spirit and they focus on the simple things getting better at them, they develop life mastery, and ultimately they hit what we call high performance. Set up intentional cues for all your relationship, 3 big words, and then have a phrase or a word for each simple person, including your spouse, your intimate relationship, or the most important person in your life. Make sure you got that set up. Every time you see them or hear, remind yourself of this word, and you just have to set that up as a cue unconsciously. Maybe you close your eyes today, you imagine them, and every time you see their face, you think of this word or phrase. See their face, think this word or phrase. See the and just build it into your brain that it fires off. You'll completely change the quality of that relationship this fast. Second strategy is to set up energy triggers. See, the nice thing about what I'm teaching at High Performance is often, this is before we're even talking to them. We set up these things to set up the relationship and the social situation to win, and this is one of them, the energy trigger. Most people barely think about the energy they're feeling during the day, other than like, oh my God, I need a Starbucks. They're not thinking about the energy they actually feel on a continual basis. And they haven't set up any triggers to up those energies in important situations. So let me give you an example of an energy trigger. I have a Fortune 50 CEO, and I've literally trained him, almost Pavlovian dog, when he walks through a specific doorway, which is, for him, the conference room at his place of business. He's in meetings a lot of the time, and he's in big, high-level, important meetings, and I've taught him to trigger his mind that when he walks through the doorway, we call it a doorway frame trigger, when he walks through that doorway, bam! His mind lights and says, what level am I right now in terms of my energy and presence? And we make him rate himself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, I'm dead, physically no energy. 10, I'm vital, I'm energized, I'm buoyant, I'm positive. And the question is, on that scale of 1 to 10, whatever he feels, is that what is necessary to serve? Because sometimes we feel like, oh, I feel so bad. But look, if you're going to go teach your kid math, you better find the energy to go teach the kid math with joy and enthusiasm to imbue a love of learning onto that child. Right? We have to think about our energy and how it affects people. I mean, it's that old thing. I mean, early as the 1900s, great coaches would put signs at the doors of their athletic team's entrance into the locker room. And one of the most popular ones back then, you would have this great sign that would say, please be aware of the energy you carry into the locker room, right? Your energy matters. It matters how you deal with your team. It matters how you deal with others. So you've got to have energy triggers set up all the time. Every time I close a door, literally every time, if it's a cabinet door, the fridge door, a door in my workplace, when that door closes, the sound of a door triggering says energize. I've set that up my whole life. Anytime someone closes, I go boom, like this, I'm on. I've just set myself, I've demanded it. And nothing really changes. It's just a mental energy trigger that happens. If this happens, then I ask what level of energy I am, and I ask if I can lift it up. And here's what the simple thing is. Most people are just not aware of their energy. So setting up triggers, it's not to make you some kind of trained robot. It's to help you come alive again, because we got to get you back connected with your feelings, your emotion, your energetic states and moods. And if you pay attention to them again and start asking, can I lift it up a little bit? Could I improve my mood? Could I improve my attitude? Could I improve my physical energy just by a mental decision to do it and focus on it for a few minutes? Everything changes. Because think about this. If you enter your next interaction with someone you love, you have a high intention to be loving, compassionate, caring, beautiful, soulful, thoughtful, kind with them. Your energy is high. How do you think that interaction is going to go? It's certainly going to go better than just like, what's up, guys? You know, you're going to feel much better. We're already winning. Third strategy, very simple, positive framing. When you go to speak with somebody, even if you're going to ask them something or give them difficult feedback, the frame of the conversation is everything. Meaning the first couple minutes of the conversation should be framed in a positive way, right? So for example, here's where people mess up in influence all the time. They go to their team and they say, you know what, you guys have been really screwing up and I'm really frustrated. Did you see this bad thing, this bad thing, this bad thing? And they're pointing out all the conflict, all the challenge, all the things that are going wrong around them. And what ends up happening, cue the fire alarm in the back, right? And what ends up happening for them, think about it. That relationship is started off on the wrong foot. It started off on a negative foot. And people do this in their relationship all the time. Honey, you didn't take out the garbage. Well, nice to see you too, right? We forget. It's like you got to start with a positive frame. And it's so important. When the kids come home, it's not like you're like, tell me all the negative things that happen. It's like, what happened in school today that you loved? That's a positive frame, something that you loved. If you're going to ask a request of the relationship, you don't say to somebody, hey, gimme, 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 gimme. You say, you know what, I would love to talk about something that I think could really improve our relationship. I think it'd make you feel a lot better and it'd make me feel a lot better, and I think it would really connect us. Could we talk about that for a few minutes? Oh, great. It's like, great, this is going to make us feel better. This is good for our relationship versus you, die, you know, which is what most people do. The frame to their conversation is started off on the wrong foot, so there's never going to be any influence. People have done this for so long that they got used to it. And I bet if you look back at most of the conflicts you've had over the last couple of years, you'll find it didn't start well. So let's replace it and fix those starts, those first couple vital minutes. Boom, we're going to achieve a different level of interaction with that person. Fourth strategy is the depth to joy bounce. A very, very, very simple conversational technique. If you haven't been to High Performance Academy, please make sure you come someday. I'll tell you about our master's course coming up. I'll give you a chance to enroll early in it. It is considered today, without a question, the most advanced, comprehensive, science-based personal development and professional development program in the world. I mean, it's the master's course. This is what people who've already dealt with a bunch of that nonsense, personal development, when they want to go to that next level, that's where they go. High Performance Academy Master's Course. I'll share about with it. But this is one of our most popular conversations. Teaching people in conversation to go deep into a conversation by asking great questions, but then to bring it back up and end it with a little flair of joy. So let's say you're out with your girlfriends or your friends and you're sitting around lunch table. A lot of people keep the conversation superficial because they don't ask follow-up questions. So when someone says something, instead of going, oh yeah, ask questions to go a little deeper into why they feel that way, why that thing is important to them, what they wish would happen from it, who they would have to be to move towards it. Just ask them lots of questions. It's that old simple thing in conversation theory of 5 layers deep. Go 5 layers deep, ask 5 different questions, and you start to understand somebody very, very different. I mean, literally 5 questions could change the complete tone and the complete feeling of that relationship forever, not just the conversation. So just go 5 layers deep. But then after you've gone that depth, bounce back up and bring that conversation back to a joyous place if they find themselves getting marred in the muck, if they find themselves getting down, or if they find themselves, you got that soulful, you could even get that place where they find their life's purpose at lunch, and they're just like, I finally figured that out. Man, I know myself now. Gosh, this is awesome. And you can be like, is that croissant amazing? And they'll be like, what? Just to interrupt them and laugh with them and bring back the joy to the conversation, right? There's a bounce from having a deep experience with somebody to laughing and talking about things with enthusiasm and joy. And if you learn to master this technique in your conversations, watch what happens, especially if you're on a first date. This is my greatest first date trick for people. Learn how to go deep in a conversation, bring it back with enthusiasm and joy. So you it's soulful. It's like, ooh, and then you ramp it up. And soulful, and boom, ramp it up. And so now there's a dance to the conversation. It feels alive with them. And then I want to be around this girl. I want to be around this guy. Every time I'm around them, I don't know, it's something different. What's different is there's tonal range. There's a melody to the conversation where most people's conversation are like, how'd it go today? How was yours? Mine sucked. Yours too? Mine too. Oh God, traffic. Oh, weather. Good. Weather bad. Good. Traffic sucked. Okay, good. Bye. What are we eating? And that's the entire range of their conversation. It sucks. I've spent a lot of time in mediation and in divorce mediation. I spent a lot of time with very conflicted parties, from literally business entities to lawyers to individuals going through divorce, mediating. And I can share with you, oftentimes, getting that next level of influence is changing someone's tone and teaching them to dance a little bit in the conversation again versus being, I hate you, We've got to change the tone of our conversations. Let's make them a dance. Let's have some soul and depth to them, but let's have that lightness and that joy and that enthusiasm. You master this. Everything. You want to talk about high performance relationships, high performance influence? What if you did this in your videos? What if you did this in your sales presentations? What if you did this when you're trying to get your kid to love learning? It's applicable across all relationships. This is why High Performance Academy has become the #1 personal development program. We just teach so many simple things. It's common sense, but it's not common practice. But once you hear it, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to do that, right? If you're agreeing with me, please comment down below. Share what are your breakthroughs. What are you learning in this video so far? Commit to doing it. Take a challenge. Say down below, what are you committed to doing now? I think this will help you. Make public proclamations in the comments section. Tell friends about this video, especially if you have somebody who's really boring, definitely send the video. Okay, number 5, the next strategy, benefit extension. One of the hugest things you can learn to do if you sell anything, your ideas, your products, your programs, anything. We're always selling in some way, right? You're trying to convince your kid to do better at math. That's a sales presentation, And you got to think about it. Benefit extension means, how do you take the benefit of why they should do something beyond themselves? So let me give you an example. You could say, hey, little Johnny, if you'll get better at math, you'll be more likely to get into a good school. Okay, the benefit for Johnny is get into good school. And maybe that's a benefit. Or, hey, Johnny, if you'll do this, you'll be more favored by your teacher. Okay. Hey, Johnny, if you do this, I'll feel happy about you. That's great. All of that is the benefit only to Johnny. Benefit extension means helping Johnny see the benefit to others and circling him with benefits that are social and that are more than just the extrinsic stuff. They're also intrinsic. So let me give you this example. Johnny, do you think that it hurts your teacher's feelings when you don't do good on tests? Johnny goes, well, what do you mean? Well, your teacher, she tries really hard for you and tries hard for the class. Do you like her? Yeah, I like her. Do you think she would feel happier if you were doing better in your tests? Oh. Now we just extended Johnny's concept of doing good on tests from himself, an immediate benefit, to a social one. It's benefiting his teacher. And Johnny, have you noticed how your sister kind of follows you all around the house? Your little sister? Yeah, she loves you. Did you notice she wants to do what you do? If you do better in school and you like school, she'll like it too. And that might change her too. And now you're extending the benefit, right? And you can do this in anything. When you're talking about, if you're selling a product, the product is not just good for the customer, the product is good for the customer's family. The product is good for the environment. The product is good for the industry, right? You're extending the benefit so they can see the bigger picture of how whatever action is you're requiring or asking of, now that benefit is beyond them. You cover the basics of them, we all know that, right? That intrinsic, extrinsic dance we talk about in High Performance Academy Master's course of understanding what really makes someone want to do something internally and externally. We talk about that a lot in the course. I hope you'll enroll. But I think you get this idea, right? About benefit extension. Extend the benefit verbally. And you have to explicitly say this to them. You can't hope that people connect. People don't connect the dots. You must connect the dots for them. Explicit conversation, that changes the game. Last piece here of benefit, of strategies, is having a goodbye standard. This is so simple, and I know some of you have done this before, and I hope you'll keep doing it. And if you've never heard of it, make sure you absolutely set up in your life and you do it with everybody. A goodbye standard means what is the standard of emotion and feeling you want others to feel when you leave, right? We all know people only recollect the last few minutes or the last few hours of relationship with you. If you know, it's that tragic, terrible story we've all heard before. The kid gets in a fight with his parents. He's mad at his parents leave, and they get in a car accident. And that kid feels guilt and shame and upset for his entire life because he left it on bad terms. And I know that's a very heavy example, but you know what I'm talking about. We've all left a conversation on bad terms and we felt bad about it. And the reason we did it is because we didn't have the intention or a standard in which all our interactions end, right? We always thought there'd be another day, another moment, another conversation to save the relationship. And the reality is, I know you've found out sometimes that doesn't happen. Someone breaks up with you because one bad conversation. Someone doesn't call you back because a series of bad conversations. You lose the relationship because you just treated people like an ass and you weren't aware of how it ended. Endings matter. The goodbye standard is that goodbye standard that I have in my life. I developed after I had a near-death experience, as some of you guys know, not that one where I transcended like this. I just had a mortality moment, if you will. A dramatic car accident that taught me at the end of my life, I'm going to evaluate my life of whether or not I lived fully, that I loved openly, and that I made a difference. And that love part, I wanted to make sure everybody I left, no matter what, work relationships, business relationships, personal relationships, health relationships, anybody I interact with, I always wanted them to know. I wanted them to know that I cared for them, I admired them, I appreciated them, I respected them, I loved them. Whatever it was positive. That's how that conversation ended. No matter what, it could be the simple thing of like, we just had lunch, you can have lunch, see you guys. Or you could have lunch, smack down your card, say, guys, this was awesome. I'm going to get this on the way out. Let me grab that check. I'll see you guys. This was awesome. See ya. Boom. Leave on that positive energy. People are like, damn, now you're a social, like firestorm of positivity. End the interaction positively, on a high note. Lift up your tone, lift up your energy, let people feel you in life again, come alive again, and your social interactions come alive too. That's where you'll get the ultimate influence, becoming more alive, getting into your highest self and staying there, demanding that the best you shows up in your social circumstance. That's how you get high performance influence. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope that you'll join us in High Performance Academy Master's course. Let me tell you quickly about that. We're about to open up registration for that, but before we do, please post your comments, post your questions down below. What did you learn? Who could you share this video with? Don't we all need to work on these 6 things? Make common sense common practice. If you'll do these things for this next week, you're going to go, I can't believe how my relationships have changed. But you also sense that you've changed. When we demand of ourselves to rise to another level of service and energy in the world, everybody feels it. And that's what changes the world, a different level of energy from us. So do that. Let me share with you what we're doing with the Master's course. You can see on this page an early registration, an early bird notification. Very, very simple. You all can register to get access first when I open up registration. We haven't opened up High Performance Academy Master's course to the public in over a year. And this is something, I mean, if you weren't on my list, you didn't see it. And what's exciting about this is that it's just become the #1 program because we cover these different parts of your life that you must master to achieve your full level of potential. I don't care if you're trying to hit your spiritual potential or your energetic potential, your health potential. If you're trying to be the best you in your marriage, you've got to master these areas. So as a bonus, let me just teach you these real fast and then explain to you. That's what the master's course is. We spend 5 core weeks going through each of these buckets. Then we spend another 5 weeks teaching you advanced concepts on influence. If you like this stuff, where do you see the course? And then we spend another 5 weeks teaching you how to accelerate your career or your business if you have a career or a business. And then we spend another 5 weeks on total self-mastery. So it's the most comprehensive course. Like I said, it's basically 15 weeks of deep dive training with me, the world's highest performing high performance coach, to help you get to your highest levels. Same stuff I give my billionaire clients. I mean, literally, same tools, same strategies, same structures. You get that with this. So what do you need to master to hit your full level of performance? And again, this is not available right now. We haven't opened registration. I'm about to, so you'd click on this link on this page to get to register for the master's course. But there's these essential areas of life. The first area that you have to master, and we all know it, but very few people have had any training on their psychology. Your psychology. Your psychology is how you manage your mind and your behaviors to live your optimal life. How do you do it? I mean, what is the difference of, say, the top 2% of the world? How are they managing their mind? Because you and I both know sometimes you have negative thoughts. Sometimes you're doubtful. Sometimes you're scared. Sometimes you have fear. But also sometimes you have the opposite of those. You have bravery. You have courage. You have positivity. You're excited. But sometimes it's hard to maintain because no one ever taught you how to manage your psychology. It's not just about positive thinking and having good beliefs. It's about having a structure to manage your psychology to keep it high performing. That's what we cover there. The other aspect you're going to have to master if you're going to get ahead is you're going to have to master your physiology, which is how do you manage your well-being, your health, your physical vitality, from what are you eating and your nutrition to what are you doing to manage your energetic state each day, to how can you open up the meridians in your body to feel amazing. Like your body matters, and this is your mind-body connection. But again, very few people have ever had advanced training on this. They read Men's Health or something, but they don't have a curriculum to follow. They don't have a structure, and this is about getting you a new structure to get you your best health. And look, whether you work with me with High Performance Academy or not, can I just urge you, make this a decision today to say, you know what, I'm getting the best health of my life this year. A lot of people have never made that decision for themselves. They kind of say it at New Year's, but it wasn't a decision. It wasn't a commitment. And I hope you'll do that. We all deserve to feel vital and energized. It makes our relationships get better, as I shared with you earlier. Next level, so key, is our levels of productivity. I issued a video covering some of the basics here, but the reality is there's so many tools, so many habits, so many different ways of thinking about your work and your mission and the things you're trying to create. Look, productivity, that covers your art, what you're getting done in your art. That covers your mission. Are you moving towards the cause that you want to accomplish in life? That covers your daily tasks. Am I getting my to-do list? It covers how you manage your priorities and how do you make those priorities happen faster. That's productivity. And most people literally haven't even read a book on it. But if they read a book on it, they read it from some academic dude. I teach this from the perspective of a person, myself. I run an 8-figure business. I've earned over $10 million a year for multiple years personally. And the way that I do that is by understanding how to get a lot done. You need to adopt some of the same ideas to move your life forward. I've done the same thing. I mean, I've taught this from, people, some simple ideas that you could do from our high performance clients or like Arianna Huffington, all the way to people who are high level Olympians to train better. That all comes down to what you're doing with your day. Last piece is, we'll just call it people. Your people or what we often call your persuasion skills, right? It's like, how do you interact with people? How do you influence them, like we've talked about, at the highest levels? How do you get better relationships all around? A lot of people struggle with that, and they should. I mean, it's not easy, but I've spent decades studying each of these boxes because I knew that's what got people to high performance. And I'm blessed. I've been very well known now. I'm the guy that brought high performance into the sort of public sphere of conversation. It lived in some academic stuff. It lived in some corporate stuff. But the popular connotation of it, I mean, in terms of millions of video views and conversations about it, #1 Wall Street Journal type selling books, I brought that conversation in because I knew, you know what, sometimes peak performance sounds so good and then it scares people. It's like at the top of every peak, there's a valley. And it's like, I don't want people to get just up. How do we elevate and sustain their performance in their relationships, in their career, and in everything that they do? And the foundational piece, the most simple, structured thing that we must understand and set up in our life is our purpose. What is it? What do we feel like we want to accomplish? What do we feel like we want to do? How do I feel like I'm living in a purposeful place? All of that is the foundation of all this. So this is literally what the 5 weeks of High Performance Academy Master's Course covers. It's just like this. It's me and you right here. I'm talking just like I'm talking to you. It's at a flip chart. It's sharing my best tools, here's how to structure the belief, here's how to set up the habit, here's some of the tools. It's everything I got, guys. So on this page, again, you can pre-register to get the information so you're in the class first. If you've ever been part of it, you see we sell out. This thing goes crazy. You're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of students because everyone knows at some level you decide, I want to go beyond the basic stuff. I want to get advanced. I want high performance. And if that's you, please register for the early registration just so we make sure that you know about it and you get in. Also, our early registration folks often get a surprise bonus, which you won't discover until we open registration. I hope this served you. I hope it's got you thinking about your life again. Let's get you back into your life, back fully engaged, back fully energized and enthusiastic about your life because you can live an extraordinary quality of life. You must challenge yourself. You must push yourself. You must do the deep work, and that's what we'll be doing together in the Master's Course. Until I see you with the open official registration for High Performance Academy Master's Course, please go out there every single day. Keep your intention aligned. Follow what you've been learning in these 6 strategies and in this video. And until I see you there, go out every day of your life. Live fully, love openly, and make your difference today.